Maybe
we'll get it right this time.
Yeah. Part two. Part two.
Where's my camera?
Here we go.
Here it is. Lovely. Feels the exact same as last time to me, but
it does.
Yeah.
Deja vu.
We'll wait until
all over again.
Names come in before we go through Nick's turkey story again.
Okay.
Again.
It is interesting, though. Thank goodness, it's a very interesting, very entertaining story. Tor is here. She wasn't there before.
There we go. Hello.
This is good.
Yes, that's more like it. Sorry, don't know what happened. Seemed to go on YouTube, a little bit of Facebook.
Neely, Lorraine,
now we're
Samantha,
back.
Stephanie.
Like.
Okay, that's more like it. Okay.
Yay!
Okay.
Oh, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's so great to see you. We thought we'd done something wrong with our promo there. So obviously we're back on.
We slagged Zuckerberg off last week. Maybe he was watching.
That's what it was.
I heard we're attracting powerful.
Him.
Yeah,
him.
It's a massive following.
I know.
We forget that we're being watched by these big people now. So we have to be very careful.
Yes.
But anyway, we were just you were going to renege us with your tales of being over in Turkey, Nick. Bust through that again.
Yeah.
How'd you get on in Turkey?
Okay, so just go through it again. If you want to hear it the first time, it's probably recorded. If it isn't, doesn't matter. So basically flew out to Turkey on the Friday, and then on the Saturday we had 50 of the top. So not only were they some of the top vets, they were some of the most influential vets. One guy traveled 600 kilometers to be at the talk. This is how much that they had. I don't know. They must have done some amazing publicity. So, Naz, if you're watching, you've done some fantastic work there in really trying to convince these guys. But I think one of the reasons that they are less reluctant than many in Europe, in the rest of Europe, and in America is perhaps because they're not, as you said, Conor, they're not as Western facing. Perhaps they've got, they're looking east, they're looking west. They're a much more broad thinking society, very entrepreneurial as well. But it might be that when somebody comes in and says, guys, it's very legit to feed raw food, they look back only maybe perhaps a generation ago. Of course it's right to feed real food to dogs. That's what we've been doing for thousands of years. I think that there may be some of that. So they recognize it and they go, aha, great, this is a legitimate way of changing our nutrition. So we had a whole day, 10 till 5:30. In the morning we had I jumped really deep in the deep end, and we started with why you should not feed kibble, and I think that went down quite well. It was like, oh really? And then we looked at itch, why dogs itch, and what you can do about it with food. And then we looked at renal disease. And then after lunch, we talked about food and cancer, which is a first for me. It's the first time I've delivered that, especially for them. And then after that, we talked about arthritis. Then we had half an hour of question and answer. And at the beginning, it's really interesting. At the beginning, I said, what do you want to talk about? And silence. Everyone was really polite. They're very polite people. But then towards the end, couldn't shut them up. Everybody's like, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? So we had this half an hour, and then after that we had drinks at the end. And so people were very, very keen. They're coming up. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What about this food? What about this? What about this? So all in all, it was, I think, very, very influential. I think that if we went over there, we could absolutely blow them out of the water and really entertain and delight and give them, because we all have slightly different views on these things. So just want to say thank you to all our Patreon people. www.patreon.com/RawPetMedics. Absolutely great. So much support. That's really, really great. Also the podcast. Remember that we're on practically every podcast medium that you can look at. Check that out if you want us to be with you when you walk the dog and do whatever you do when you're listening to your podcast. So there you go. Conor, this was your idea about doing the businesses.
It was, I think we
just give us a little, unless anybody's got any news. I don't want to hog the news side of things. If you've got any news,
have you seen? Did you see? There's a new show there on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse. And I highly recommend, for the inquisitive mind, for somebody that just wants to be blown away by the possibilities, Graham Hancock, who has been pilloried, really. He's been slagged off for years and years for his ideas, but they're starting to gain kind of ground now. And it's fantastic. It's all about, I think Nick is frozen there, but I'm sure he'll come back in. But it's all about that, the idea that we're hunter-gatherers and all that kind of 5,000-6,000 years ago is just not holding up, that there's all these amazing monuments that are being discovered that are much older and these incredible things. And anyway, look, it's just a brilliant show, and I highly recommend anybody check it out, and they'll see what happened at the end of this last ice age and what was on the planet at that time. So there was people around way before that doing incredible shit. Anyway, look, the show is fantastic, really, really interesting. But what I was struck by was the fact that in a podcast I was listening to him in, he said that he had been slagged off by archaeologists because he's not an archaeologist, he's a journalist. Slagged off by historians because he's not a historian, he's a journalist. And so he didn't fit in anywhere. And the narrative of we were, learning how to farm 6,000, 5,000 BC, he was saying that's just not right. It just this doesn't fit, and that doesn't fit, and this doesn't fit. And I kind of thought we're all really guilty of that, because I was rooting around over the last week or two at, other people that are doing stuff in canine nutrition. This canine nutritionist here, this canine nutritionist there, this person's being followed here. And sometimes you forget to check in with these people. And I'm listening to some of their thoughts and ideas on whatever. They might be feeding the same protein for 4 or 5 days and a mono protein kind of feed. Another one is really serious about IBD and the fats and stuff in IBD. And I'm kind of reading it on. I found myself kind of saying, I don't really agree with what they're saying there, but I cracked off a message to you two guys then, and it started this great conversation. And what struck me was that, and a couple of other things that I was reading as well, but what struck me was that everyone's got all these different opinions, and you have to constantly question yourself. And you get into a rut sometimes where you think I've got the ideas, I've got it right. And when people come along, they challenge, because that's often their way in. It's like, no point saying the same stuff as RPM. You got to talk about something different. And if it's totally different to what we talk about, the natural inclination of a human is to go, that can't be right. That's not our way, but actually you need to be challenged like that all the time. So it was just a really interesting wake-up call, watching the show, listening to his backstory of how he got this incredible information together. You have to watch the show, Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix. It's an 8-parter. It's just fantastic information for the inquisitive mind. It's like watching something on the galaxies and you go, oh yeah, that's so interesting. Look how old we might be. Anyway, so I love that. And also I got checked on my use of science as well a few days ago, which I'm just going to mention. I was talking about and fair dues to her, he said probably could have been put a bit more politely to me, but she had been following me for 10 years. Misleading was the word, but no, that wasn't the word. Deceptive, I think. Well, it was something. I mean, but someone pointed out that homeopathy came up, and someone said, "Isn't it funny that doctors will recommend arnica?" And I thought, oh, that's classic, because pharmacists and doctors will recommend arnica, but you're not going to eat arnica or you're going to die. You're going to take it in a homeopathic mixture. And I thought that's fantastic. So I created an infographic with a doctor on the top saying, I think homeopathic mixtures are, dangerous quackery. And underneath I said, but I recommend arnica for bruises and sore limbs. And I just did a little quick bit on homeopathy. But unfortunately, of the 2 or 3 studies I used, in one of them, I hadn't quoted the whole study, and there was some negative stuff as well. And I was, and fair dues, because as soon as she said it, I said, oh, Jesus, Stephanie, absolutely. You're totally right. I took that paragraph out until I reassessed. But it just shows, you've got to be ready to be wrong talking about all this stuff all the time. So I think that was my thinking for the last week. It's just like we need to keep talking and debating and bringing on a couple of nutritionists that have different slants and stuff. And anyway, that's what I was struck with this week. What about you, Brendan?
I think you're absolutely right. From the point of view of we read the paper, and you might sort of like look at the initial element of the title and what they're writing about, and before you know it, you're presuming a conclusion.
Yeah.
But actually, when you read the full paper, there's always other bits within that, and not even just looking at the conclusion. You've got to read all the methodology. You've got to read what they've done all the way through that. And actually, to do a proper review, actually take all of that information and reflect it. And this is why, I was gobsmacked by the amount of stuff out there, for example, about pumpkin seeds. And the use of them for worming, etc., and actually how that's developed when actually the studies are not there, and anything that is there. We had this conversation a couple of weeks back. is actually it's not just pumpkin seed. You've got to add in a load of other stuff. You know,
it's extracts
anywhere near pomegranate extract and all of the rest of it. I think Zuckerberg's having a little bit of a laugh at Nick's expense because of his comment.
I can hear him.
He keeps skipping in and out.
I've just had a little word with him, and he's gonna behave from now on. Yeah, we'll be.
Is that right?
From now on.
Well, apparently everybody online is asking me to do this and to somehow move Conor to a different side of the phone for them. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. They just don't want to.
You could just make me the whole screen. That's probably what they want, is it?
Oh, is that? Yeah, they said apparently you're on the wrong side of the phone.
Okay, the phone. Okay. I've got a new lamb's wool sweater, everybody. And
the jumper is rather nice, I have to say.
Thanks very much.
Is that okay? Let's have a look. Can we have a look at the jumper? Come on, it's just
from next. It's just from next, but it's just very nice and fitting. But I'm actually sweating, or it could be the red wine. Look, guys, let's get this started here because we actually started 15 minutes late, and I'm going to get slaughtered here by my missus. I put the kid down at 8. We were going to talk about small business tonight because when you look through Patreon, we have an awful lot of small businesses sponsoring us, and that's good. You know, this time, these times, it's not easy to come up with that, price of a pint every month kind of thing. And so it's great that small businesses do it. And then I got to thinking about it, and I thought, we do our bit. Like, we are promoting raw, and if you're selling raw dog food, that's going to be a good thing that we are doing this. So I kind of thought, swings and roundabouts. But I was going to pick 2 businesses, but honestly, there's so many people, particularly in Patreon, really good, reliable owners that I said, okay, what I'm going to do is, in true Conor style, rapid fire, thank about 10 or 12 of these few little interesting businesses that I picked out, and then end with a little thing that I know is coming up soon. So I got chatting to number 1, 1920. I will be finished before 1930. Bearing in mind, we didn't start till
is that a promise?
We didn't start at 15:15. I can do this in 10.
That's a decade, my friend. I'm sure you'll probably be able to get it all in there. Just about.
Just about.
Not if we keep talking over his minutes. That's now only 9 minutes.
I don't think on the mouthy one. Isn't that weird? I must be. I taught that in school as well. I met a lady there, Charlotte Davies, who's kind of cool, and she's just started her business, and so she's at the very, very first step of her business. And I was like, "Oh, what are you doing, Charlotte?" And she's freeze drying food, and I thought that is cool because I know UK has freeze dryer machines. Anyone with a large standing army generally has large freeze drying facilities. That's what they say. But so the UK certainly has freeze dryers, but it turns out that there's not a whole lot of people actually drying UK meat freeze drying. In fact, I couldn't find any others using UK meat. You can buy in dried meat and make up products and stuff. So this girl has set herself up and bought a premises, and I believe she's in Cornwall, and she's doing all locally sourced. She's just started to, but bear with her. She's only got 2 or 3 products up there at the moment: beef liver, chicken treats, and stuff. And her company name is Wildside, WILDESIDE. And her dream is that she brings out a couple of freeze-dried complete foods for dogs. And I thought that's good because people often ask me what to use instead of raw dog food if you're traveling. And to be honest, I would use nearly anything. I'm getting less and less particular as time goes on. But this idea of somebody freeze-drying some locally sourced, outdoor reared, organic, where she can sort of products really appeals to me. So I thought, fair play to Charlotte. She's one to watch. That's wildside.co.uk. Into the Easy Raw Dog Food Company. Okay, so check them out, easyrawdogfood.co.uk. We have no affiliations to any of these companies, by the way, except that they helped us out on Patreon. Easy Raw Dog Food. In fact, I wish I knew your names, guys. I probably should know them because I was supposed to have that ready, but I'm looking through all their products, and their complete meals are cool. They're kind of hand rolled into balls of 100-gram weight, and the quality of the meat is absolutely savage. It's like outdoor, where it can, grass fed, all this kind of stuff, seasonal veggies, herbs, seeds, in line with what Nick's talking about. So it's just fantastic, balanced meals. But what I particularly like is that they do outdoor pork, which is great, and they do outdoor pork pancreas, which is vital. And I just think that's great. So it's a source of outdoor reared pork pancreas, because I think it's a real fatty organ, and if you've got a dog with chronic pancreatitis, you probably don't want to be using shitty pork pancreas, you know, to pardon the pun. You know, I kind of worry that perhaps that's not as good. We were talking about fats, guys, and I think there's another show to be done on that. And you know, so there's a nice source of quite affordable for outdoor pork pancreas as well. I think they're doing themselves in. So the Easy Raw Dog Food Company, handmade, bought into 100 grams. I love that. Oh, 3 minutes is gone. So close that one, close that one. Where am I now? Then I just wanted to mention a couple of why am I talking about these ones? Oh, I don't know. Okay, this is an American company, the Real Dog Box, because I love Ruby, and Ruby is just a powerhouse, and she is just doing all sorts of stuff. But she's got a big factory there, and she employs only locals in her area, and she is churning out a serious amount of business. Very serious operator, the biggest of the small businesses here I'm going to be mentioning today. And she's just fantastic, and it's all local, and come in and see our factory and putting locals to work, and highest quality meat treats, and you know, that she can make. And it's just fantastic. And all the initiatives that she does, and now she's starting to do free lectures. Come on in and we'll teach you about canine nutrition and all sorts of stuff. That's the Real Dog Box, and Ruby, check her out. She's cool. So fair play to Ruby doing that. Oh, I love this shop. This shop was brilliant. But somebody fell off their chair, it sounds like, because I'm looking at the website.
No, that was Nick.
Okay. So check out this shop.
Yeah, he got freebies. Yeah, Real Dog Shop.
This shop, North Hound Life. Okay, North Hound Life in Canada. We've never even heard of this lady. She never talks to us. She never said, "Hey guys, you know, look, I'm giving you that." It's just, and I check out our company, North Hound Life, northhoundlife.com in Canada, and check out how lovely those products are. Look at the range she has, and you can't help but sometimes, like, you'd see all these products, for example, New Zealand green lip mussels, Canadian bee pollen, very Canadian where she can, veggie boost, bovine colostrum. So you say, oh yeah, where's the bovine colostrum from? And it's from New Zealand. And I'm like, oh, New Zealand grass-fed beef colostrum, pretty good. So you try to catch them out, and you might say, okay, I'll go down to past the slippery elm bark goat milk super blend, and then I see turkey tail mushrooms and all these beautiful things in little jars. And I go to the spirulina, because that often catches people out, because it's tempting to buy spirulina really cheap from countries far away that grow it in open vats, very high in heavy metals. And their spirulina is made in Canada. And I thought, whoa, for the price of it, that is pretty effective. Reishi mushrooms, milk, all this cool stuff. What a lovely company. And that's the sort of company, guys, that if you have a question, like, you know, about colostrum, you go talk to this lady that runs this business, which I nearly had her name. She's going to give you the answer, because she has looked inside and out, and there's a reason she's selling colostrum, because she totally believes in it. So you can ask a generalist like me, or you could talk to somebody that's actually selling this stuff, and you can just pick their brains, you know, and they're more than happy to help you. So there you go. That's North Hound Life. What a lovely Canadian company that is. Then moving away from the food here, what am I doing here? Oh my God. What's this guy? Nathan Watson. Well, this Nathan Watson's been with us since the start. Not a name I know, but he's got to be one of the most qualified dog trainers I've ever seen in my life. If anybody has a troubled dog, check out Nathan Watson. I say that for no other reason, but he sponsors us. But my God, you want to see the amount of qualifications this lad has. He is just a powerhouse, and his website is very helpful. And he does free weekly adult dog walks and puppy walks. And I thought, that's kind of cool. What a way to start getting your business in. I'm going to be going for a walk. Come with me and pick my brain. Check out Nathan Watson for doing that. That is an absolutely cool thing to be doing. Then there's another holistic dog trainer, just to say, over in New York, in Albany, Alice Marino, because she's always messaging us, and she's a holistic kind of dog trainer, animal behavioral specialist, also a certified pet nutritionist. So a jack of all trades. She's training your dog, and she's teaching you how to feed them as well. And she's just fantastic. So check her out. She calls herself Rough Love Dog Training, RUFF, not ROUGH, which I think is
easy, boys.
Okay, so here's another great business here. PhysioMy.dog. Everyone probably knows these people, and if you're here listening, guys, don't be afraid to stick your links in as I mention your business. Oh my God, I've only got 3 minutes left. PhysioMy.dog. She's all about physiotherapy. Obviously, she's highly qualified, but she does Zoom consults, so you can chat to her over the screen, and she teaches you how to do therapy sessions. Like, that is fantastic, teaching you how to do various bits and pieces, and she's highly qualified for all that. Great testimonials on her. I loved hearing what people were saying about her online with PhysioMy.dog. Speeding up now. Here's somebody that walks dogs. She's been with us since the very start as well. She calls herself dognose.co.uk. DOGKNOWS.co.uk. Thanks for sponsors from the very start. She walks dogs and she trains pups, and she does Central and South London in Greenwich. Just want to give her a shout in case you're looking for a dog walker. And then I'm just looking at a couple of raw dog food shops that do astounding ranges of raw dog food. For example, this Welsh company, it has to be, Raw Feeding, CWMBRAN. Quimbran, sorry about that. Raw Feeding Quimbran.co.uk. Butchered your name, I'm so sorry. But that web shop, the shop has so many 1 kilo bags of 1 kilo bags of liver, kidney, feet, necks. If you're into DIY and you want your stuff delivered, that looks absolutely savage. Really big supply of or range of foods and all sorts of completes. I mean, just 34 from Albion Meats, 10 by them, 22 of Naked Dogs, 18 of Raw Factories, Alexander's Natural 9. They've just got loads and loads of products. 2 minutes left. Another range, another massive shop here, leadondogshop.co.uk. Fabulous shop, nice website, clean. She's got a huge range of natural dog treats. Check her out, Lead On Dog Shop. Okay, let's see, what's this one? And then one for San Antonio, Natural Dog Shop, Fifi and Fido's Pet Boutique in San Antonio, Texas, specializing in natural foods and treats for cats and dogs. Absolutely brilliant. Right. Last one, we've got a dog charity that sponsors Dogs in Distress here in Ireland. That's Marie Hannon. I know her well. She is fantastic, and she's also part of the Patron program. So if you buy grain-free pet food in Ireland, you can buy it from dogsindistress.org, and they get all the margin from that, which is a great way to do it. And for my last 30 seconds, could I just mention to people, myself and a new business partner of mine in Ireland, in the US, we're putting together this thing that we called XmasPetExpo.com. We're calling it that. And essentially behind that, it's a Christmas kind of thing where small producers are going to get a chance to reveal their products to a large audience. Okay, so we're going to do it via Facebook Live, and it's going to be in true Conor style, 3 minutes rapid blitz presentations of products. You get 3 minutes to punt out. If you've got natural treats, 3 minutes to present your treats. If you want to do canine nutritional consultations or pump your book or talk about some consults that you do, or you sell supplements, you have 3 minutes. You can enter as many categories as you want, but you've got a maximum 3 minutes to do a presentation. And it's tailored to dogs and cats. We're also doing horses, single presentation. And if you're for people that are viewing, that producer will have a little discount that won't be available anywhere else. It's going to happen the week after Black Friday, on Friday the 2nd, 4 o'clock GMT. You'll switch on Facebook and you're just going to get great natural product after natural product after natural product. It's just going to be like shopping on steroids for natural pet products for 2 hours. Boom, 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 boom. From the finest producers, we've got Becker's Bites is coming in, Judy Morgan. We've hopefully got Peter DeBias, and we've got a few others that are going to be coming on side. So please, if you're interested in being a supplier, get in touch on the website that hopefully Brenda's scrolling across the bottom. Or if you just want to view it, it's free to view, but you do have to check in with us to view. So that, keep an eye out. I'm going to be talking more about that later on, but I just wanted to first let you know that Independence, great time, because as we all get together, we're all going to be promoting so you promote from your Facebook page, she promotes from her Facebook page. Loads more eyes on your one product from all around the world. So it helps if you can ship globally. Thanks for the extra minute, guys. Done.
Okay, I've got another company. The company that sponsored me over to Turkey is Raw for Us, and this is Naz, and they do freeze-dried food, and they source from within about 80 kilometers of the of that central position. So they're hiring local people. So they are a Turkish representation of what you're describing is happening in the States and in Cornwall and in Ireland and what have you. Really good. There's a lot of people out there doing some great work, and Naz at Raw for Us. If you want to see some vid of the presentation from Saturday, if you go to Raw for Us on Instagram or probably Facebook, you'll be able to see some snippets because they took a lot of footage. So all good. Brent, do you want to go next? I can do mine pretty quickly.
Go on then.
if you like.
What, just because all the products are behind you? Just
yeah, well, you could if you like, but that would take me about 6 days to go
you've got
through
time,
all of
Nick.
those.
Take your 10 minutes and Brent do your 10 minutes. We've got plenty of time. We'll just finish later. We started later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. No problem. Shall I go next?
Yeah.
Okay. Very simply speaking, I've got this lovely product. It is called Eco Ears. It's by a nice US company called Vet Organics, who make a range of very nice products over there. We ship it in. I've just ordered 48 at a time. It goes shooting out the door very quickly. It is. I'll give you a little rundown of the ingredients if I can read it. Witch hazel. We've got boric acid tea tree oil, silver solution, mullein leaf extract, rosemary extract, fingerroot extract. And I came across it because a client of mine was having recurrent problems with the ears. We cleared up the food, we cleared up all sorts of things, and we'd used a number of treatments to try and get rid of this recurrent infection. And she came along with this and cleared it. And I've used it since with really persistent bacteria. There are some bacteria like Pseudomonas, for example. Once they get in your ear, it's very, very, very difficult to get rid of them. So you've got this gloopy ear permanently. But using this stuff, and there's not an antibiotic in sight, which means it's going to be useful for antibiotic resistant problems. We got rid of it with this. So A, it's really mild. B, it's really natural. C, it's super. It's good for where you've got resistant bacteria, and there's a lot of resistant bacteria in ears. And also, even though it's so powerful, it's a really nice cleaner. And so if you're just looking for something natural, just to clean the dog's ears on a once a month or something like that, really lovely product. We've got it. If you want some, just email me, Nick Thompson at holisticvet.co.uk. Yes, Jill Hendricks, it does do yeast as well. Basically, it will just get, because of all the oils and the boric acid in it, it is good for all of these things. So there you go. That's quite a simple, but it's more powerful than it actually looks. The next thing that I'm going to show you is this product. It's by New Zealand. It's called New Zealand Deer Velvet, and I've been talking to a lovely guy called Sean Cuttance, who is a New Zealand deer farmer in the jolly old New Zealand, and we've been talking, and so I'm importing this product into the UK. Really excited about it. Judy Morgan was talking about it on one of the pet summits, and she's been using it for years. And he sent me some literature. I haven't got very much. You might be able to find it online. And it seems kind of too good to be true. There's another one there.
What's it do, Nick?
It does a bit of everything, mate. I'll tell you what. So this is produced by the New Zealand government. Okay, it's all very swanky. Right. Yeah. And so they are talking about support for growth, so good for puppies, immune function, healthy joint function. That's where it's used an awful lot as a chondroprotective so basically arthritic dogs. For strong bones, for aiding recovery after tissue injury, blood health, blood pressure for humans, cholesterol balance, athletic performance, support for mental function, aging. And in this book, there is up to, can you see that?
Yeah.
That's the 511th reference. It's just squillions of references. So this stuff, to me, it's really new. It seems like something from a Shakespearean play. Thou shalt give the velvet of deer antlers, that kind of thing. And yet the science says oodles of...
What is this about deer velvet? What could it possibly be?
It contains the chondroitins, the glucosamines. It's got an immaculate amino acid balance. It contains an awful lot of the minerals that would otherwise be hard to get. But it's a bit like greenlit mussel. It just happens to have the right balance to have a massive physiological impact. And so there we go. This is the stuff. If you're interested, you can have a look on. There is The website
is that a powder or is that a capsule of it? What's
just in tablets, just in a tablet form.
Right.
Yeah, I've on Patreon. I've actually put a link to the New Zealand Deer Velvet products. It's called NZ Deer Velvet Products dot something.
But they can buy it off you, can't they?
But if they're in the UK, they can buy it from me. But if they're in the States, Sean is putting it into the States and what have you. But if you're in the UK, let me know. We can get some to you very easily. Lovely stuff. Have a look at the website.
Doris Lowe says, Doris Lowe is saying something that I was going to say in joke, but she's being serious. Deer Velvet is apparently good for guys. The word starts with E. I'm assuming erection.
Excitement.
I was going to say any product that does everything. It's like, yeah, does it do everything? But interesting, Doris. How Doris knows that, I'm not sure, but she's a big supporter of the Deer Velvet industry. So, so that is interesting, Nick. Must check that out.
So I didn't know that because that's not highlighted in this. But if it does the trick, it has been used in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years. And so, it is regeneratively farmed. Okay, so they don't do anything horrible to the deer. The deer are extensively farmed, and they have to take the antlers off to stop them killing each other. So it's very, very regenerative.
That is so cool. I'm still astounded that deer can grow antlers every year, particularly if you're a 7, 8 point, 9 point stag. And then you see these fallow deer, they've got the fallow deer, the palmate antlers, big, heavy antlers, and they're covered in velvet as they grow at a ferocious rate of solid bone. And then they fight with them for a while, and then they knock them off. And you find them lying in the ground. I remember in UCD, because we used to study the thing, there was just a whole room full of antlers. And I thought I could make a great business out of that if I was allowed to have them for nothing. They do projects on them and that kind of stuff. But what a ferocious a kind of demand on the body every year to come up with that. And the bigger you get, every point on a red stag's antlers is a year. So it's like if you've got 10 or 12 points, can you imagine?
And that velvet, it's all the blood supply, and then you see them rub it off. You see the bloodbath when they rub all of that velvet
awful.
off.
Oh yeah, and trying to knock them off when the deer they don't want to come off because the cement hasn't quite softened. What about you, Bren? What have you got?
Oh well, look, I think, guys, thank you so much. If you are down there, do please plug your business. This is the one to put it in the side, put it in the comments. Put your link to your business website by all means. But we have, I couldn't get through this evening if I didn't mention a couple of bone broth companies. Currently have kindly written up stuff on Patreon. We're going to share that. I think the great thing, they do a great grass-fed bone broth, beef bone broth. So really good organic stuff. That's one of the only organic sources. I know there's some over in Sweden that's available. The guys from Raketo were saying they're sort of supplying a source from there, but this is Northern Ireland, I think.
That's right.
From memory. And the other one, which I think is great, is Boil and Broth. I have mentioned this before, but I'll give Rachel a shout out because this is one of the options which they do. Rather than it being a frozen complete and taking all of that time and cost for transporting it, they actually dehydrate it and create a powder, which means that you can, just dose it, almost do the Bovril thing, stick it in a cup, add some boiling water, create your bone broth, recreate your bone broth. And, what do they use? Apple cider vinegar, bones, and water.
So that's good.
Okay,
what a product.
So
amazing,
really,
lovely.
Really great. And I would say, those are really good things that I would go for. I know there's a few other guys out there that have supported us over the months, and thank you to all of you. Please do just keep putting your businesses our way so that we can give you a shout out. I really love this idea of the Christmas Pet Expo that we'll be supporting, and we'll get Conor doing his rapid fire. I just feel exhausted, Conor, after your 10 minutes of
I felt
gotta breathe.
I felt when you look at Patreon, sometimes it's moving. You're kind of looking at these people going, fair dues, this is great. I don't know these people, and they're doing this, and it's like, I understand we're giving content, and I understand there is a value that we're offering. I know there is, and I get that, but still, it's nice to see. And particularly when you go to their website, and it's like, this is a small business, you know, every penny counts. I'm sure that Karen Lee product in Northern Ireland, that product's in Tetra Pak, so it can sit in your shelf. Boyd and Broth is just a phenomenal company because they've got the wet stuff, they've got the dry stuff. What a solution! There's a third one there, Alexander's Natural, who does kind of rare meats. You might get goat, and you'll get like. You'll get 5 or 6 different broths there. So there's 3 different broth companies killing it, doing so good. And thank God we have them, because I make broth myself a little bit. And most recently, listen to what I did making my own broth. I got this chicken carcass, and and I'm stewing the hell out of it for 10 or 12 hours. And I kept did it properly the first time. And then I thought I still had this huge carcass left. And I thought, I'm going to do it again. And this is what people do. They stew it twice. And the second time you stew it, it's like a milky kind of color. And I kind of felt like I was getting deeper into the mineral and the things and less of it. That's what I convinced me, and I could not wait to get at this stuff. And so there's little bits of bones in the bottom of this one, and I put the sieve over the sink and I poured all my stock down the sink and just sieved out the bones. And I just watched my stock going down the drain after another 12 hours. And I was like, what am I doing? I was so angry. And Elaine was like, the house reeks of chicken. And
put the plug in. Put the plug in.
It was just too late. I was mixing it all up. It was just terrible. But I give it to Dudley all the time because his back isn't 100%. He's starting to slow down a little bit. He goes up and down the stairs, you see. He follows me absolutely everywhere. So if I go to work, I'm upstairs. He comes with me. But he goes down the stairs extremely fast because his little back legs don't really have the traction. And now I'm starting to think, he's halfway through life here, and his back, as I was told this was going to happen, he had this major operation where they fused his discs. He's just starting to slow down a bit. He's jumping off the couch and his legs are hitting the ground. It's not like he's landing on his feet at all, and I'm thinking he can't be jumping off the couch anymore. So I have to go build a little ramp with a carpet, and I'm wondering, what am I going to pick him up in the head? What do people do with wonky back dogs on stairs? Do they just not let them upstairs? I couldn't not have him with me upstairs. He'd rather be dead than not be up here with me,
Yeah.
So it's a worry, it's a concern. I think broth will help.
Yeah. And there is one more. I think some of you guys may have seen this over on Judy Morgan's. I think Billy Hopeman, great guy. Super cool guy. He's now the CEO of this company, and they do a fermented veg options. They do quite a lot of other stuff as well. There's some bone broths and other things in their ranges. Now, this is an American company, so for all the Americans out there, great product. This comes as a frozen veg. They do like that orange stuff, they do their green stuff, and in that, when it arrives at your shop and you pick it up and you take it home and you defrost it, you can take a scoop out into your dog's food as a veg addition. But actually they've done it so that it will ferment over time, so you can actually have it in your fridge for 2 weeks and it will be maturing all the time and developing more vitamins and stuff as the bacteria start to ferment that food, and just adds more and more. So you're almost getting a varied diet. I can't wait till a company over here does it, but for now, certainly, great if you're in the States. I think you'll find it in many stores. Certainly worth having a look if you're out there. Okay,
that's cool. I saw he did. Judy Morgan had a good interview with him there a week or two ago on and his yeast conditions. And he was talking about heavy dose probiotics. Half it would be this milk that they make, this fermented milk, which I can't even get my head around what fermented milk is really, but fermented milk is 50% of the diet, the other 50% is the raw dog food, and they bamboozle the gut flora with this lactobacillus and bifido, whatever else is in it. And I thought it was a pretty cool, pretty slick presentation. I thought there must be something to this. Had a little look around, and that's what people are doing, because as people will tell you, Gillian Hendricks there, just one I saw earlier, a stubborn yeast condition can be a real devil to shift. And so perhaps fermented veggies can play a role here as a really high dose pre-probiotic kind of thing. We're looking for probiotic tablets. Why wouldn't you give fermented foods?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, there was so much in there. Yeah, some great anti-cancer stuff in the green ranges. You know, so many great things in that, and it's a useful addition. You know, I know you're not a big veg guy, Connor, but you know, from a point of view of, I love fermented stuff. Oh, well, have we converted you?
I'm not. No, I'm a big veg guy. I'm a big veg guy. I'm not a big fermented guy. It's just I still find it unusual, although as you very painfully explained to me, it is, yes, they ferment in the intestines. That's how it works. That's how bacteria eat. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. But I think Billy would talk me around, to be honest with you. There's a few conversations I've had. So of course, everybody else is into it. So I just need to get on board.
Well, guys, let's get him on. Let's get Billy on. In the new year, so January. Say that'd be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And another lady I thought about was Caroline Ingram as well. Somebody said in Patreon there, would you not just get Caroline Ingram on for Zoo Pharmacology and learn a bit about that? Wouldn't that be interesting? So many people. So
I've got one business, guys, who everybody's just reminding me to do my husbandly duty. Ellie has a company called dermadog.com, and she hand makes, literally on the kitchen table downstairs, she makes these products. They're really, really good. They're really natural, using organic essential oils. Super duper. I know that they're very good because I use them in the shower every morning, and we use them on the kids. So tested on kids. You can use them on your dogs.
Boom. Has she got any insecty products, Nick?
Yeah. She's got insect. It's called Insect Defense Spray, which is really good, with rose geranium in it, and it's really nice. You'll see it on the website, dermadog.com. Insect Defense Spray. It's a nice little product.
And so just reassure me, because I have this image of Fight Club, okay, of making soaps with animal fat,
human fat.
So I hope that's not what we're dealing with on your kitchen table.
Oh, that was some disgusting scene. Do you remember it? It burst on the barbed wire that spilled all over. It's like, oh my god! What a great movie.
Sorry, Nick, but so. There was a really interesting thing. I think, Connor, you shared geranium extract spot on. Out there as looking really holistic. And both me and Nick both made a comment that actually just be cautious about the organic solvents that can be in these, because that's actually the bit that can be carcinogenic, etc. And I'm guessing the extract that we've got in Dermadog is going to be in a natural oil. Is that right?
There are no organic solvents in it. No, it's a soap base with organic essential oils that
Seeing as we don't have time to do the bit on the side, to be honest with you guys, do you want to just tell me what the organic solvent thing is about?
There are some really nasty things like phenols and toluenes. You know, all those ringed.
The thing with the benzene ring in it.
Yeah, the benzene ring, really toxic.
That's hydrocarbon solvent. That sounds like benzene, doesn't it? Because that's a real hydrocarbon. So this was greenvet.com. Okay, it's a French company, and I emailed them a couple of times. I said, "Hey guys, I love this product. Can you tell me more about it?" No response really. So I said, "Oh, fuck it, I'll just order it." And it comes in French, obviously. And I can't really read it. Why did I buy this? I don't have a dog with any issues. He doesn't ever get ticks. So what I was going to do is I was just going to raffle it off the website. Is anybody looking for this is certainly a more natural solution.
Please don't raffle off some benzene rings. I'm
not
sure.
It doesn't say benzene,
good idea.
But it does say chrysanthemum cinnamomum, which is a chrysanthemum flower, all right? And the other one is geranium. So these are the two. It's an isolation of these two flowery compounds, and then it's obtained with hydrocarbon solvents. So that's how they got it out. And I know Joe Arbin, here's another local business, Joe Arbin of Holistic Hound. Guys, if you're looking for natural remedies in the Irish side of things, she's a veterinary herbalist. Joe Arbin is fantastic. Big good pal of mine, Holistic Hound. And if I told her hydrocarbon solvents, she'd be screaming and pointing at the screen now at the moment. So I'm not slagging.
And that's what we say over and over again. This is how they extract some of the vegetable oils to get the max out of them and create some of the most horrendous compounds within those vegetable oils that they then sell you as cooking oil. You know, don't do it. Just please, you know, that's not the way to extract oils from plants. It's cold pressed. You know, using hydrocarbons should send alerts to everybody. Don't do it.
So benzenes, hydrocarbons, if you see things like that on the back, solvents on the back of the product, if there is better ways to extract
that's chemical extraction. Don't do it. You know, steep it, make a tea, whatever you need to do, but you don't do those.
There's a big gap in the market then for somebody, Dermadog, to do a product like that, because everyone wants it as
a product. That's what he's just saying.
I know, but just yours, like this is, I imagine this is so finely something that you can put it on the skin and it inhabits the dermal layers. But we know rose geranium oil does that; it inhabits the dermal layers. So is that what you think, or you hope the Dermadog spritzy product, like? Do you know
That's exactly what the Dermadog does. Yeah, and the chrysanthemum. Did you know that permethrin? You heard of permethrins? These are synthetic molecules which are derived originally from chrysanthemum. It was derived from chrysanthemum.
Okay.
So that's probably a really powerful combination, and I will mention it to Ellie. She might do a kind of a super duper flea thing.
That's really interesting. So what's the toxicity levels for cats? If
you have a cat
derived from chrysanthemum,
I am not sure, but whenever anybody says, "Can I use it on my cat?" I say, "I don't think so." To be honest,
their product has. Sorry,
cats and phenols is a bad combination, and there's natural phenols within the oils, the rose geranium and what have you. So I'm always a little bit nervous. I always ask Caroline Ingraham, the zoo pharmacognosy woman, as to what we can use and what we can't use. She's my kind of go-to for those kind of questions.
What's a hydrosol, lads? Chrysanthemum hydrosol? What's a hydrosol?
It's the water that they use when they're if you're you've got a solution of a plant that you've dissolved in ethanol and water and what have you. You then take off the water. I think that the water that comes off that you're trying to get rid of, that's the hydrosol. Yeah, and what you're left with is oils and materials.
So it still has some product within it, but it's in an aqueous solution. So it's not.
That's right, and it's considered very, very, very gentle.
No, okay.
But it actually, interestingly, has some actives in that the oils won't necessarily have in. And it's a subtle difference in the effectiveness and how it's affected. But as Nick says, a more gentle option.
The gentle bit is interesting because this toxic book has changed me a little bit. And you know, when you get this really hypersensitive dog, clearly having a terrible time, Gillian Hendricks, who's on tonight. This dog's chronically itchy and has been for a long time. Nothing has been working, but she's on the mend now. So that's all great for us. But this sort of dog and a couple of others, when you use too much of any good thing, this dog just reacts to it. It just could not take like a regular dose of chamomile, a regular dose of probiotics. It's an issue. It's just, and so a gentle, like tiny little doses, this toxic book would say, it's called a Herx effect. So if you let's say you want to kill yeast, you've got a yeast issue, and you take a load of cellulase, which is one of the recommendations. You need to digest the outside of the yeast cell, which is covered in cellulose, because it knows you can't digest them then. And so you take cellulase, an enzyme, to digest it. But if you take a load of cellulase, you'll kill a lot of yeast, and all that yeast will release its toxic compounds. And what you get this massive reaction in the dog, and you'll go, bloody hell, that's not working. That's made the dog worse. When what you've actually done is you've killed a lot of the body and released a lot of these compounds, and the Herx effect makes the dog appear really sick. The better way to have done that, and now I'm tweaking my information because we learn every single day, is that you would start with a tiny dose of cellulase and a tiny dose of yeast killing compounds and slowly build, because you don't want the yeast to die in the first 2 or 3 days. That could just leave the dog on its ass. And I suspect that's where I've been going wrong with a couple of cases. Hypersensitive dogs react so strongly to things. So this idea of a hydrosol and mildly, I'm taking very seriously now. And I'm thinking, this is interesting. And it lends even more support to the homeopathy idea, doesn't it? So it's all very, very interesting. I love that tonight, guys. I do have to go. I have to be strict. I have to go by 8. I love that chat. And we have next week, we have Barry for Galway dog trainer. Barry, what's your second name? Bloody hell, I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. But Barry is a scent dog expert, and he does the mountain dog rescue training over here in Ireland. And we thought, one for the behaviourists. Let's get into a little bit of training. Talk to Barry, very pro raw. Does a bit of dog training, but the mountain rescue stuff I'm interested in, how he finds them, how he trains them up to find, people at the end of the day, alive and dead, to be honest with you. So I feel it's going to be a good chat. It's one for the trainers and behaviors. So if you're watching, guys, tune in next week and we can pick Barry's brains. So does that sound good, guys? Toxic is the book. Yeah.
Just if you're looking for what the book looks like,
it is hard going in parts, guys. Some of those chapters I was stopping on my walk going, I'm not sure I'm actually taking all this in here. But I found the first third of it brilliant. And it says, listen, if you really don't want the biochemistry, if you're not Bren, then just skip past this chapter. And I was like, gone. See you later. To the next chapter. But I tried to, but I just don't have. That's not where I am. I can't do that. But it ruins your walk. It ruins a bloody good walk. But the first third of that book so far has been brilliant. But I've been very slow on it. But it's changed how I approach things. So hopefully for the better. Right. That was cool, guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That. And if you want to join us, patreon.com/RawPetMedics. Thanks for all of your support. Please look out for us on your favorite audio podcast supplier, whether that be Amazon all the way through to Apple, Spotify. Oh God, there's just everything. I'm waiting. I'm not quite sure that we're on BBC iPlayer yet. That's real disappointing.
Interesting. No, they have to approach us. We're too big now. They'll approach us. Yeah. And as previous remind us, guys, check out Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix. Keep an open mind and just watch the show. And it's just so into possibilities. It's just so interesting.
Number 2 in TV shows on Netflix at the moment.
Ooh, very good. And he was slagged for years and years and years. Do not come out with this. He's an absolute silly Billy. And here he is going, look, I'm just showing you interesting stuff. That's all it is. And very few people are arguing with what the findings of this Netflix show is. Just some interesting stuff. Meteor impacts 11,000 years ago, the Younger Dryas period. It's just fascinating. So the stuff that I'm
going to do that tonight.
Chuck in half-hour episodes, perfect length, boom, boom, boom. It builds to a climax. So each episode's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And then you get to number 6 and 7, and then the big one at 8. It's like, holy shit. The big reveal. It's well worth it. Anyway, all right, guys.
I can hear kids screaming.
Yes,
so,
guys,
gotta go.
Yeah.
See you later. Cheers.
Love that. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.